Hello, everyone, family and friends. Welcome to another Life on Life Terms, a meeting of recovery. My name is Nate, and I'm an alcoholic and addict. I want to thank God for another day clean and sober. I want to thank God for the sitting down process and that place in recovery that provided me with that process. This is session 3, and it's kind of going pretty well. I'm kind of digging it, man. I'm loving it. I haven't picked a time for it, but you can definitely watch this whenever you want to. So I want to talk today about a couple things, and I'm gonna take a suggestion that my stepbrother gave me, man, as far as telling how I got to Louisville. So I got to Louisville like this, man. I was in Youngstown. I was running around crazy. I was dealing with a lot of younger dudes that didn't even know me from back in the day or nothing like that. I was stealing, I was robbing, I was manipulating people, I was lying all the time. I was just doing too much, man. And one day, man, my mom had said to me, "You better leave this city, man, before somebody find out I'm your mama and kill me." And that shook my whole being right there, man. And I could not imagine my mom was suffering the consequences of my wrongdoing. And later on that night, probably about this time, maybe 2, 3 in the morning, man, I left walking. I left walking from Youngstown, man, and I was walking at first aimlessly, and then I realized that I had been in another place before, Xenia, Ohio, and I had been in Dayton, Ohio before, and I knew that if I made it down in that direction, man, I could just start over and things would change. So I made it there, man. I literally walked the freeways. I stayed on the side of the freeway many a nights, right out, where they got little open fields. I slept, got up, got the trucking, man. I would go in stores and steal shit to eat. It was a whole lot to just getting to another place, man. And when I got down to Xenia, man, of course I hadn't been high for some days. And mind you, that's about a good 4 hour walk. I mean, drive. That's about a good 4 hour drive from Youngstown to Xenia. So me walking took me a few days. And I actually got down there and started over. I got kids down there, one son that I haven't seen at that time and haven't actually seen since. And that actually breaks my heart because um, his mama was correct in not even keeping contact with me because I was running through people's lives like a tornado, man. And I'm real grateful to her for that. He turned out to be a great young man, and I haven't even been able to develop a relationship with him, and that kills me. Um, but it's all my fault, man. It's all my fault for picking addiction over everything else. But then again, once I went in that direction, man, I was very addictive growing up to things, and once I went in that direction, man, wasn't no pulling back. So I didn't even know what I didn't know. But I left walking and ended up in Xenia, and went to my daughter's mom's house and started over. She took me to this little program, got a little apartment, and tried to do the right thing and got a couple jobs. Like I told you before, I never really had any problem getting jobs, and had a couple jobs, man. The people gave me a nice apartment. I was in there, man, and that first paycheck, man, I was able to pay them people a little something on their rent, and I blew that. Needless to say, I continued on uh, carrying out the charade, if you will, for several more weeks until I couldn't even go to work, and I was so gone off drugs that basically, I lost my position there and all that. So I figured, okay, let me make my way down to Dayton, Miamisburg. I went to Miamisburg, man, and all of this is walking. And that travel from Xenia to Miamisburg was probably a half-hour drive. So me walking it probably took not a whole day, but it took a minute. But I was determined that I would change my life by just changing my location. This is what I thought. Um, Went down that way, ended up going to my brother's old apartment where he had stayed, when I had stayed there with him. And it was actually empty because he had moved to Atlanta. And actually went right in the damn back door of the apartment and stayed in that mug for a minute. Then I left. I stayed in there asleep because, mind you, I was up probably 5, 6 days. I always do this. I get on drugs and I stay up like 10, 12 days, just crazy out of my mind. Then I went and you know got something to eat, far as stealing shit at the local stores, and then went to another apartment and went to sleep. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna make it to Cincinnati, man. So I ended up walking to Cincinnati. A trucker picked me up a quarter of the way and dropped me off at one of the truck stations. I remember that. And it's funny because I didn't really remember that in many years. Um, but again, I would be, just going in, stealing shit and stuff like that, man. And I was not raised to steal, man. I always prided myself off not stealing, and that was completely out of my character. So anyway, left there, man, going to Cincinnati. When I got in Cincinnati, man, I stayed at the little homeless shelter. It was on Vine Street, and I ended up getting a job at the little labor ready place. And I would work, man, all day, work like 8, 9 hours, man, and get right off work. They give you a check. It'd be like $42. It wasn't nothing major, and they would say you can cash right at the liquor store a few blocks over. I go to that liquor store, cash my check. When I come out of there with some money in my hand, somebody like, "What's up, man? What you need?" Right back over again, man. I was back to doing drugs, man, immediately, man. Then I run all night. Then I go to work the next day. I ain't got no sleep. Do the same thing, man, days in a row, man. So that went on for possibly a good month. I can remember the last day I actually was there, I went to work, and when we got off work, they was like, "Well, you could pick your check up today if you walk across the bridge to Covington, Kentucky, and the little Labor Express place over there had the check, or you could wait till we bring it to you in the morning." Well, I needed mine because my shit was allocated. It was accounted for. Basically, I needed it to get high. So I walked on down over the bridge, which took probably a good hour, and went on up in Covington. And sure enough, got my check. They said, "Yeah, you can cash it right around the corner, man, at the liquor store." Went in the liquor store, cashed my check, got out the liquor store. Somebody else like, "What you need, man? You good?" "Oh yeah, man, I need to get on." Dude took me to this little spot, man, where they smoke at, and served me up real well. And next thing I know, I'm in the spot. I'm like just staying in that mug. I'm going out stealing shit, robbing people, all kind of stupid stuff, man. Going back to that spot, man. I did this. I worked at Labor Express a couple more times, and it was crazy, man. And so all of this happened with people I never even knew before I actually met at that time. Um, so the last day I was there, I had did a couple licks, came on smoking, man. I was going hard for about 6, 7, probably about 7 good days, and then I was just like numb, man. I really was just all numbed out, man. And then I went and I played a dude on some drugs in the little house, and I ended up starting fighting this dude, and his boy jumped. So it's 3 people. It's me fighting 2 people, and I'm steady talking crazy. These cats was trying to get me out the house, and dude run back in the house, and I knew dude had a strap because he had shot it a couple days before that. And I'm like standing there like, what with the other cat. I got one little cut right here on my lip out the whole ordeal. And dude turned around like he going in the house. I'm like, all right, these dudes going to get some straps. Okay. I start walking down the street, man. I had a metal pipe and a glass pipe in my hand. I was so sick and tired of myself in my same situation, man. I thought if I changed locations, everything would change, and I didn't realize. But no matter where I go, I bring me with me, man. So I start walking, man, and mind you, the whole time I'm doing drugs and stuff like that, man, I had a hell of a work ethic. I worked real hard when I worked on the job. Um, I had a lot of skills, man. I was able to work on cars. Had a lot of experience with that. Had a lot of experience with remodeling houses. Um, just a lot of experience, man. Hand to hand deals with people, man. On buying and selling cars and all kind of stuff, and of course buying and selling drugs. So I had some experience with hustling and getting money, man. But as I walked away from that house, man, I just I just reflected on my life, man, for a brief moment, and they call that a moment of clarity and recovery. And I just knew, man, I just couldn't keep doing this, man. And as I was walking, man, I had this brilliant idea. It's not so brilliant that I know now, but I always got brilliant ideas when I was high out this world. But brilliant idea, man. If I keep going south, man, I could make it to Florida, and I could remodel and do all that shit and smoke crack the whole time and won't nobody know. And the reason I said that was because at that time it was a whole lot of hurricanes going on in Florida. That was in 2005, man. And so I kept walking, and I seen a guy cutting his yard, and I kind of walked over to him a little bit, and I said, "Hey, man." He's like, "What's up?" I said, "Man, which way is south?" And he looked. He was like, "That way." And I was like, "All right." So I kept walking, man, and I walked up this hill, and as I walked down this other hill, I looked over, and it was a big field, and then it was a lot of sand, and then it was railroad tracks, and I seen this train coming, and it was going south, and I said, "Okay, man, let me see if I can hop this motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? I runs down there, man, and the train going, it's going pretty good speed, and actually, it might not even been going that fast. I was just so damn hot and tired. It could have been going 3 miles an hour. That motherfucker was going fast as hell to me. So I jumped on the train, and I was on the side of this box cart, and I lost my handle and fell off. Boom. I got back up, ran with the train a little bit, and when I jumped on it this time, I grabbed the little ladder to like a little flat cart and wasn't nothing on it. I climbed up on that mug, man, and laid down, and the train's going this way, and I lay down like this, kind of, diagonal on the train, and just fall out, go straight to sleep, man, like that motherfucker was a waterbed. And I slept, man. I must have had slept at least, I would say, a whole day, but I slept, man, and I kept waking up. I woke up one time, the train had almost came to a stop, and I looked, I don't see nothing. I closed my eyes, and I heard this other train pass real close, like, woo. I was like, oh man. And then I looked up one time. I was looking over. It was like it reminded me of that Bugs Bunny when the Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny's on the train, and it's on the side of the mountain, and you could see like down, and I was looking down, and you could see where the train was like on the side of the mountain, built on the side of the mountain, and I was like, oh my god. And I just kept saying, God got me, and I knew I was done, because when I start running down the little hill to get on the train, man, I reached in my pockets, man, and I pulled out both pipes like this and threw it, and I said, God got me. And I know when I got on that train, man, I just had that faith, man, that He did. At least my understanding of God at that time. So I laid on that train, man, and slept, man, and slept, and the train started coming to a stop. I slept many, many hours. I don't know how many. The train started coming to a stop, and I could hear somebody hollering, "Yo, man, what the fuck? What you doing on the train? Get off the train!" And I looks up, and it's the police. And I'm like, hell yeah, man, the police, they gonna take me to jail right now, boy. I can get me a shower, I can get me some grub, I could sleep for 10 days. I was happy to see the police, man. And mind you, I probably ain't had a shower in at least 2 weeks. I had on a black shirt, black pants, no drawers, no socks, and some leather shoes. So I was really, really reeking, man. And I got off the train, and the dude said, "The fuck you doing on the train, man? What you doing?" I said, "Man, look, bro, y'all need to arrest me right now." Put my hands up. I said, "Y'all need to arrest me right now, man." I said, "I got warrants all over the place." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Man, where am I?" He said, "Man, you in Louisville, Kentucky." And I said, "Louisville, Kentucky." And in my head, the McDonald song went on. Old McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I. The only thing I heard about Louisville, Kentucky was that they had horses. So I'm thinking this motherfucker ain't nothing but dirt roads and horses was riding down this bitch. Completely different than what I thought. So I got off that train, man, and the police was like, man, ran my name. He was like, man, get out of here, bro. And I was like, so where's y'all got any homeless shelters or anything like that? And he said, man, it's like 16 miles that way. And I come to find out today, man, I was on Chamberlain Lane, man, by Westport Road. And I walked, man, and walked to a Meyer, walked past a Ford factory, walked to a Meyer, man. I sat in the front of the Meyer and I sat there with my hands on my face on my hands and was nodding out and looked up. It was bubblegum machines, man, and gumball machines. And I seen one. I was like, damn, that looked like the cap off that motherfucker. And it was, man. I went over there, grabbed a whole bunch of gumballs, man, just put them in my pocket. I was eating them. I was so hungry, man. Just was eating gum, man. And went in the bathroom, sat in the toilet, right there in the bathroom in Meyer was right there in the front. Went in there, sat on the toilet like this, and went to sleep till the next morning, man. And probably about 9 or something in the morning, I hear a bang at the door, at the bathroom door, on the stall. I'm like, yeah. He said, hey man, I'm the manager, dude. You been in there all night. What's going on? I said, yeah, man, I got jumped, man. I'm beat up real bad, man. I got internal bleeding. I'm lying like a motherfucker. I said, man, I need to go to the hospital. I just want to go somewhere where I can lay down and go to sleep, man. That's how bad it was for me. And so he called the ambulance. The fire department came, fucked me up. They don't do that in Youngstown, or they didn't do that in Youngstown. And fire department came. I'm thinking, man, damn, I thought I threw my pipes. Maybe I'm gonna set something on fire in this bitch. No, they came because their response time is faster than the damn ambulance. Anyway, they checked me out. I was stable enough. I told them I had internal bleeding. They believed me. The ambulance came, took me downtown to Louisville U of L hospital. So I laid in that hospital, man. At least a good day. They ran a whole lot of tests on me, X-rays and stuff. And I can remember laying there. They had me in the hallway, man, on a gurney. I was laid out, knocked out, and I looked up, man, and I looked like that, and it was a nurse washing my feet, man. And I said, wow, thank God. So my feet must have been stinking so bad, man. It must have lit up the whole hallway. And anyway, the next day, man, the nurse called me up like, say, yeah, man, we got your test results. You ain't got nothing going on internally. You good. And they gave me like bag lunch or something. And I said, is there any homeless shelters around there? She was like, yeah, just walk down Muhammad Ali. And this is when I knew I was done, y'all. Because most cities I go to, wherever, I go to the projects, I go, to the hood, because I know I can get on and get high. Man, I walked straight through the projects, man. No, I was looking wild out of my mind, man. Walked through the projects, man. Determined not to even talk to a motherfucker because I know once somebody say something to me, I'm gonna want to know where something at. Tell them all these skills I got. I could fix this. I could fix that. Get on and start getting out. Walked through the projects, man. I stopped at 2 different homeless shelters, and they wouldn't let me in. One asked for a TB card. I didn't know what that was. The other one said I had to have a ID, and I didn't have my ID at that time. And so they was like, go down the wayside, they'll let you in. And I walked, man. When I came through this alley, it's called Nanny Goat Strut Alley. Fucked me up. I'm like, what the hell? When I walked through this alley, I emerged from the other side of the alley, and I seen this. I thought it was this dude standing there with this sweet ass truck. And I was like, man, I should take this dude's truck. It's a little dude too. And as I walked up, and I could see him from behind, that little curly hair and all that. And as I walked up, and she turned around, it's this lady that's been a great positive influence in my life, man. Miss V, man, and she's a great friend of mine right now. And I said, where's the men's shelter at? She said, right there around the corner, man. And later on, man, when I got into the shelter, Miss V became a great friend of mine, man. Thank God for her. But I went into the men's shelter, stood in line, and at that time it was up the steps. You had to go up some steps to get checked in, and I went up some steps. And the person that checked me in, it was a guy named Guy. And I couldn't believe it. I ain't never heard of a guy named Guy. And he said, well, what are you looking for? You ever been here? I said, no. He said, what are you looking for Wayside, to do for you? I said, man, I just need a bed and some food, and that's it, a shower. And he was like, oh, okay. And he looked at me real tough. And he said, you got a problem with drugs or alcohol? We got a pretty good recovery program here. And I stopped and thought, and I said, no, I don't think I got a problem with drugs or alcohol. I just quit smoking crack yesterday, so I should be good. And little did I know, man, I was full flight from reality, man. He looked at me like, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna give you a bed, and you're gonna be on the wait list for the program. So that way I can give you a bed now, and you just be on the wait list. You ain't got to check in every day, like the guys just getting a bed. That way you be on the list to get in the program. I was like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, I don't care nothing about no program or none of that. If you're gonna give me a bed, whatever they tell me to do, I'm good. So anyway, I was a couple days later, man, I was asleep, and there's meetings going on, and this meeting was down in the cafeteria. It was called Marathon Market. Never forget it, man. And this guy came up there and he said, "Hey Nate, why don't you come down and check this meeting out, man? The guy that's speaking at this meeting, he's a beast, man. You gonna love it, man. He gonna, he might inspire you, man." And I was like, "All right, man, whatever." So went downstairs, man, and listened to this guy. And this guy, let me tell you something. By the time I got there, I was. This was in May of 2005. I was completely just down. Like I don't remember the last time I genuinely laughed. Um, I don't remember telling the truth about shit. All the petty shit I had done, I was so embarrassed and just disappointed in myself at that time. And this guy, man, he told the story about his life. And it was so powerful because he made the shit sound so funny, and it was the same type of shit I had done. It was the first time I had really genuinely laughed, and it was like, wow, I was laughing at myself. He gave me the opportunity to have a different perspective of the shit I had done, man, and it worked, man. And that's what they say, that the message must have depth and weight. That was depth and weight, man. The fact that I could laugh at this guy's story because it was just like my story. It was a miracle, man, because there was nothing funny about my fucking life right then. Um, so when this guy got done and the meeting was over, man, and I walked up to him, I said, "Hey, man, I need a sponsor, man. Would you please sponsor me, man?" And he gave me his phone number. He said, "Call me." I said, "Okay." So I start calling this guy, man, and they actually put me in the program. When I started calling this guy, I wasn't even in the program yet of recovery. So they actually put me in a program. Shit, it was a couple weeks later. Um, but then, I got guided through the steps by this guy, man, and I do believe I had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Now, that being said, I'm going to add this in there because that makes this interesting. I did relapse in 2009. I relapsed. And I relapsed not because I didn't have a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps, not because the steps didn't work. I relapsed because I turned away from the stuff that I was doing to get sober and to stay sober. And let me tell you what that is: honesty, open mindedness, and willingness. I turned away from that. And see, I explained this once before in another session. But once I stopped calling my sponsor, that led me to start disconnecting. And once I start disconnecting, it led me back to the same old lie I used to tell myself all the time. Man, I could do just one. or man, I could, And that brings me to a whole nother point, man. It brings me to character defects. And that's a powerful point in recovery. And we talk about the disease of addiction. This is why I say I'm an alcoholic and an addict. If I drink alcohol, I want to keep drinking alcohol and I fuck my life up. If I do drugs, I want to keep doing drugs and I fuck my life up. So we talking about the disease of addiction. And character defects is, if I lack honesty, if I lack truthfulness in my life and I'm afraid to tell the truth, I just don't tell the truth, then my shortcoming is, I can't be honest. My shortcoming is that I lie all the time, so I want to break this down because this is important because people hear the character defects, shortcoming things all the time. But this is a vital part of recovery, and it's a consistent job in recovery for a person to work on character defects, shortcoming, amends, all of these things. So if I go to Walmart and buy a stereo, a boombox, let's say I buy a boombox, and this boombox, you plug it in and you turn on the radio. Radio works lovely. You booming, yeah, you banging, got the little EQ on it and everything. Then we talk about back in the day now. Then I put the little tape cassette in there. A lot of people don't know what that is now, but we talking about back in the day. Put the tape cassette in there, push play, the tape play, boom, I'm banging. Yeah, hell yeah. It's got a CD player on top. I open the top, I put a CD in there. Close the top, play the CD, CD won't play. Wow, maybe it's that CD. I put another CD in there. The other CD won't play. I go back to the radio, it's playing. I go back to the tape, it's playing. The CD won't play. Fuck. I take that stereo, I put it back in the box, I take it back to Walmart. Walmart say, what's wrong? I say the CD player don't play. They take that box, they send it back to the factory. Why? Because it is defective. When the factory gets that box, they mark on it, boom, defective. That stereo has one defect. The CD player doesn't work. And they send that motherfucker all the way back to be broke down, rebuilt again, or maybe fixed or whatever. If it's cost efficient, fix it and resell it, whatever. But one defect, basically that motherfucker's garbage. Human beings have many character defects. And that's the thing. We have defects of character in all different types of areas. First of all, we very selfish and self-centered. Second of all, we always lying about some shit. Third of all, being selfish and self-centered, I'm very impatient. So the flip side to that is I have no tolerance for people. I have no tolerance for situations. So there's a many grave deals when it comes to human beings. A human being may have many character defects, but we can't mark that human being defective and just throw them in the scrap heap of life. No. In recovery, we pull people up from the scrap heap of life. And we teach how a person works on self and character defects. How a person's shortcoming, like for instance, lack of patience, gives a person no tolerance. So love, patience, and tolerance is what we strive for. And boy, I tell you what, when I asked God for patience and tolerance, when I was in that place of recovery, man, where I had that sitting down process going for me, and it was a process for me to sit down. When I asked God for love, patience, and tolerance, build love in my heart, grant me patience and tolerance, boy, I tell you what, man, he didn't just automatically give it to me. I had to earn it. There was a whole lot of situations I ran into since then, and I constantly run into them now, that seriously presses my patience, that seriously presses my tolerance. Seriously, like, wow, I gotta develop more tolerance just to deal with motherfuckers. So it's real powerful, man. When you ask for shit like this, man, I'm telling you. So that's all right, Ray. I know you had to get up, my brother. Good, you can watch it later. But when it comes to that, man, it's a beast. But I'm gonna tell you right now. So being in recovery, here's where we get lost at, because life start becoming real good, and we start getting some things, and we start acquiring stuff, and we can keep the job because we can piss clean, and we can get the new job because we can piss clean. A lot of times nowadays, shit, if you just got clean urine, you can pretty much get the damn job because everybody trying to do something. And but I realized something, man, that when I went to make my amends, man, I had to really, really sit down and study what amends was. I had to run this by my sponsor. I had to run this by the fellowship, because amends is always mistaken for an apology. Like I call somebody up, man, I cussed you out the other day, man, I'm sorry. Well, some amends are like that. Most amends are not. When I amend something, I rebuild it. That's basically what I mean. I either build onto it a new structure or rebuild the structure into a new structure. When I completely tear up a relationship, me saying I'm sorry on the phone or face to face is not an amends. I got to do some shit, man, and I just want to let you know, man, that recovery is work, and I see why a lot of people don't stay in recovery. I see why it's not attractive for a lot of people, because it's a lot of work on self, man, when you in recovery, man. When you honestly doing the right thing, it's work. Now, if I'm sitting up here scheming and bullshitting, oh, this shit'll be easy. But when I really get down into it, and like I am, very passionate about my life, very passionate about recovery, very passionate about what I say to people, very passionate about carrying this message, it's some work involved, man. And I do this right here, man. I do this because I owe a debt to those who've done it for me. I do it because this puts some insurance on my sobriety. I do this. And this is my form of making amends to some things in my past that I may have even forgotten. But I put my time and my energy into this, like this, because guess what? Somebody gonna hear this, man, and somebody gonna have some kind of better idea about themselves and others in their life. Let's talk about attitude. In recovery, man, it's a whole lot talking about attitudes, man. It even says it a lot of different times. It says we change our attitude, our outlook upon life. So what I want to give you is, when I'm looking at something real messed up, my attitude is real messed up. When I'm looking at something real positive and good, my attitude is positive and good. And I'm quite sure you, like me, you know people that's on one side, like every time you see them, they look positive. Hey, how you doing? They're good, and they roll with it. And then people that's always negative. Oh man, ain't nothing nice about today. How you doing? Have a nice day. This day fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So I know that the attitude is powerful when it comes to me looking at myself. See, I got to have a different attitude when I'm looking at me. That's why a lot of recovery step work is putting that shit down on paper. See, when I put all that shit down on paper, the shit that I thought about, the shit that I had done, what people done to me, how I felt offended, when I put all that on paper, man, something happens right there. It suddenly becomes an object that's destined for observation. See, now I took it out of the personal realm. It's not personal like it was, and I put it outside of myself on a piece of paper, it becomes objective. Now I can look at it and study it. Now, when I look at it on paper, though I have feelings for it, it doesn't hold the same negative weight. Y'all get what I'm saying? All right, Lisa, I'll see you in the morning. I came late with this one, y'all, but that's okay, man. I prep for these, with my prayers and my meditation. Get my house together. My house, it say trust God, clean house, and help somebody. And that's what I try to do with this. So, yeah, I understand people going to sleep and all that. Ray, Lisa, I see Uriah up in there. Yeah, I see Anita up in there. I understand y'all, and I'm sorry. I see Steph. I see Daryl. Yeah. I'm sorry it took me what it took, but yeah. Don, okay. But continuing on, I gotta realize that if I look at me negatively all the time or half the time, my actions are gonna be negative. My words are gonna be negative. And when I think of something and I start to speak, that thought becomes part physical, because when I move my tongue and make a sound, it becomes sound waves, and them sound waves go and beat on somebody's eardrum, and it becomes a word to them, and it creates a thought in their head. So I go from the metaphysical to the physical, back to the metaphysical. And I do that. When I do that and I got a negative thought and I create a negative word, and it goes into somebody's ear and creates a negative thought in their head, guess what? I'm putting negative out into the world about me. And that's what's powerful about this thing here, man. I like to stay on some true shit. And you know what's so cold about it? It's hard to stay on true shit. It's hard to stay on true shit because so many people don't really want the truth, and that's fine, because I don't try to stuff nothing down nobody's throat. In fact, I do what I do, and when people come into my presence and ask me what I do, I just explain it. I don't just sit here like I'm preaching or this and that. In fact, a whole lot of people for real didn't even know I was in recovery, because I don't run around preaching that shit. I don't wear my sobriety on my shoulder like it's a chip or something. You understand what I'm saying? I just do what I do. And see, when I do this, when I practice these principles, this is our 12th step. When I practice these principles in all my affairs to the best of my ability, because ain't nobody perfect. Then it says, and try to carry this message. The reason why I say try to, because no matter how deep, no matter how powerful my testimony is about my life as an alcoholic, as an addict, how I got out of that, how I got out of my addiction, how I'm in recovery, how I've been sober since October 25th of 2009. No matter how deep my story is, how I jumped on the train and landed in Louisville. I didn't make a trip. I didn't pack a suitcase and say, okay, let me go down here for recovery. And I so happened, by the grace of God, I so happened to land in a city that's real strong on recovery, the very thing I needed, and I didn't even know I needed it. So I do what I do, man, and like I said, I don't carry it on my shoulder, but people have seen and have asked, and there has been people that have seen and asked, because guess what? They never seen me get high, get drunk. They never seen me out of my mind or fucked up or broke. They seen me as a real successful businessman, and guess what? They life might be fucked up, and when they run that by me, and most of the time they be lying off the top, but when they run it by me and I tell them a little bit about my story, and they say, oh wow, I didn't know you did drugs, man, I didn't know you were, so it's like practicing these principles in all my affairs is like a walking, living, breathing big book, man. And somebody ain't gonna never read the big book. Somebody ain't gonna had opportunity to see the big book except through somebody else's actions. So giving people that opportunity, by carrying this message. But no matter how hard I try, it says in the 12th tradition, try to carry this message to alcoholics. Somebody who need this message ain't even gonna listen. No matter how hard I try. Somebody who need recovery is gonna completely close their ears, and turn a blind eye to what the fuck I'm talking about right now. And that's okay, because guess what? That's between them and God. See, I need to verify something right now. See, because a whole lot of alcoholics, addicts, and non-alcoholics and addicts don't understand the disease concept of addiction, the disease concept. So, disease is two different words. It's dis and it's ease. Dis means away from. Ease means easy, lovely, chilling. I'm away from ease. I have a physiology that's automatically built like that. When I put a drug in me, alcohol's a drug. When I put a drug in me, there's something that doesn't digest right. There's something that doesn't go right in my physiology. And what it does is it creates a craving that's beyond my mental control. And that craving is nothing less than a compulsion to go out and get some more drugs. And the more I put in me, if I put a drink in me, I want a drink. When I put the second drink in me, I want 2 drinks. When I put 2 drinks in me, I want 4 drinks. When I put a hit in me, I want another hit. When I put the second hit in me, I want 2 more hits. When I put 2 more hits in me, I want 4 more hits. It's the same shit, because we talk about the disease of addiction. Now, this is also called an allergy, meaning I have a mental obsession about something and I have a physical craving about something. So what's happening is my body and my mind is both gone off the shit. So I might work a job all day long. Got me some good rest. Got up early for work. Maybe drank some coffee. Went to work. Worked all day. The whole time I'm at work, there might be a fleeting thought in my head. Man, when I get my check today, I'm going to get high. I'm going to go blow this check and I'll make up on the next one. Fleeting thought. Nah, you know what, man? This is all day. My mind is telling me this, and I'm telling my mind some other shit. Oh man, I just get one bill. Well, you got to pay that bill today. Well, you know what, man? I just get a 40, man, in 1 dime piece. All day. So see, I start obsessing about it, and the closer it get to the end of the day, the closer it get to them people handing me my check, the more the obsession builds. And when I say obsession, I'm talking about a thought that overrides all other thoughts. Now think about this. I got a thought that's overriding all of the thoughts, right? So I'm obsessing over some shit. My work and everything else is down here, paying bills, buying stuff for the kids. All that shit's down here. This obsession's overriding all the rest of them. When I get my check, guess what? That obsession's still growing and growing and growing. And guess what? When I cash that check and I go put that in me, now all of a sudden my body takes off. And people fail to mention what happens to that obsession. And I had to really examine myself to realize this. So now my body's craving it. My body's like up here, like, let's go, man. You can do it. And now I got to go get more. But guess what? That obsession did not go any fucking where. So don't think as soon as I put it in me, I just got a craving. No, we really fucked up, man. When I put it in me, I can't think of nothing else but getting high again. See, before, when I was just obsessing over it, I could still do my job. When I put that drug in me, oh man, all I think about is getting high. So the obsession multiplies. The craving builds, the obsession multiplies. Man, we striked out, man. And so for all you people that don't get addiction and don't understand alcoholism and don't believe it's an addiction and think, oh, we just got weak willpower. Let me tell you something. I know right now, me as an alcoholic, as a fucked up ass addict, I know right now you could probably put me in any industry on any fucking job and I will excel. Not because I'm just like that, but because my mind is sharp enough to learn the position, practice the position, make the position so habitual I could teach it to other people. And guess what? I'll raise in the ranks. Yeah, I ain't the only one. I know a whole bunch of them like that. So for the alcoholic and addict, you know that old saying when you was growing up, they said practice, because practice makes perfect. Let me explain that to you for the alcoholics and addicts here. Practice becomes habit. Habit become addictive. Addictive shit becomes addictions. Period. That's just how it go for us, man. This could be anything from basketball to sex to whatever. Horse racing, whatever the fuck. You could gambling, whatever you want to get into. If you're an addict or alcoholic, if you practice it long enough and it becomes a habit, and you practice that habit long enough, it's going to become addictive, and that's going to be one of your damn addictions. So going out to, people in Al-Anon and people that just really want to learn about this thing, our willpower does not suffice when it comes to our addictions. Our willpower is not there. And I say all that because when an alcoholic or addict is not in his addiction, such as myself, and is away from drugs and alcohol, and is away from, shit that puts him back into drugs and alcohol, we are some hell of employees. We are some hell of a business people. Hell of a partners. I mean, you name it. At the same time, though, I know people that don't practice these principles in all of their affairs to the best of their ability, and they look real miserable to me. And that ain't on me to judge, but the attitude is funky, and they barely ever got shit, and they always chasing shit, I know people just like that, man. Ain't had a drink or a drug in years, but ain't practiced these principles in all their affairs. Haven't carried a message to an alcoholic in years. So see, the way this program works, man, you gotta work this program the way that is written out to work it. We ain't got to make up no shit and put it in there, man. We don't. And that brings me down to our cornerstone of these meetings, man, is change. Let me tell you, man, it's hard to change when your mind is trapped on some shit that you feel like this is right, and no matter what. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm very hard-headed. One of my character defects is my hard-headed ass. Another one of my character defects is a little man complex. So you could be drunk off anger. You could be high off pride, man. I'm talking about I got to be real careful, period. I got to constantly work on myself, man, because I could be gone off some shit and be out there like I'm drunk as hell and can't even look at myself. And I'm talking about with nothing in me. And that brings me back to, like I said, change, man. I had done a whole lot in my life up to the point of me even getting into Louisville, and being here to me was when I kept saying God got me, and this is where He got me to. I was so grateful to be in this place, man, as one of the nation's top recovery facilities, and I didn't plan to get there. I didn't. They didn't send me on a trip and say, man, go there and recover. And I know a lot of people have, and thank God for you guys. I know a lot of y'all, but I'm telling you, God guided me here, man. And once I got into the steps, man, and I really looked at self, and I really got into the program of recovery, and I really start working these principles into my life, and I started making those amends, man. Once I started doing all that, man, there was a whole lot of stuff that just came in my life, man. Whole lot of great people. I'm gonna tell y'all, man. For me to be, to have a background I got, just to be in that concrete jungle we call Youngstown. For me to come from where I come from, man, my life is amazing, and I'm gonna tell you why it's amazing. I got a few police friends. Now we ain't talking about a motherfucker. I'm talking about friends that I met through other friends, huh? And I fuck with them. And guess what? These guys are like my friends, and I never thought I could live like that. I always thought I would have to be on the other side of the fence. I got to do something wrong. And I had to realize I had to break this shit down, man. I ain't done nothing illegal in a long ass time. And on top of that, I'm not hiding nothing from these people. So when I walk around and my life is open, I ain't got to be all like hating on somebody, man. Because that's what happens, man. I get to hating on people, So we was having a conversation the other day, and I got to mention this because this is real powerful, for real. It's real powerful, man. So I was at the little spot, man. I was at the little parts store where one of my friends worked, that's police, and I was buying him and all the people that worked there sodas, because that's what I do, because I appreciate them guys, man. They on the front line. They dealing with a whole lot, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to auto parts, and they always get me together, man. And my business is running a mechanic shop, and guess what? They get my parts together, and if it's wrong, they switch it up for me, the whole nine. So I always give these guys treats, and I'm talking about everybody in there, you know what I'm saying, that work there. And the one dude, the employee, said, "Oh, I see how you do it. You be buying the police pops because you bribing them." And I looked at him, I said, "Wow, bribing them?" He was playing, but it was like, huh, wow. So first of all, I'm bribing them for what? I ain't done nothing. So am I bribing them to be my friend? I mean, what do it was kind of funny. And me and the police and dude all looked at each other, laughing and shit. And I said, so I'm either bribing them, meaning that I'm trying to get them to do something that they shouldn't do for me, or I'm trying to get them to look the other way while I do something I shouldn't do. So I was like, oh man, well, you know what? That ain't even bribe. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, I ain't doing shit but looking out. And on top of that, then I added this to the equation. I said, you probably one of them guys that think anybody that call the police is a snitch. Oh, well, yeah, I said, so, okay, I'm a businessman. I'm a legitimate citizen in the United States of America, a black man that owns a business in an urban area. Okay? Somebody come to my business talking crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm supposed to go get on their ass. I'm supposed to put these up and start fighting. I'm supposed to call the fucking police, make a report. This person is fucking with my business. In that particular sense, how's that a fucking snitch? Oh, well, y'all, that ain't really exactly, because the police are there. They're law enforcement officials, which means the law is made to protect and serve the citizen. The police are here to enforce the protection and the service of the citizen. Which means if somebody giving me some flack at my job or at my business I own, like several times I had to call the police and make a report because they fucked up a car. Somebody didn't walk by and bust in the window or some stupid ass shit. I got to make a report because guess what? I got to cover my ass when insurance come up and ask me what the fuck's going on, and I got to cover my ass with my insurance. So it's a lot to that. And even if deal with insurance companies, you got to have a police report. So now I got to feel like I'm a snitch because I'm calling the police? No, I'm an American citizen that run a business, man. The police is my right. They are here to help make sure that I can be free to practice my job, practice my income maker, and do that with no threat or harm. So yeah, man, it's a lot. There's a lot twisted in the mentality, man. When I think of things, and when I come from my survival mode that I had when I was on the streets and in my addiction and all that shit, and I step off into recovery, there's two totally different mind states, completely different attitudes, completely different outlooks on life, man. That's what it is. I'm telling you, that's what it is. And so just for me to be happy, for me to have some serenity in my life, man, I got to look at this thing for what it is, you know. And I ain't out there on the streets doing crazy shit. I'm actually doing legitimate shit. I'm earning a legitimate income. I'm paying legitimate bills, including child support. And I'm gonna speak on that, man. Amending relationships with kids, man. Let me tell you something. I got a kid, man, that I have not seen and I wanted to see so bad, so many years. Attempted to contact him many years. And the killer part about it, man, the last time I seen him, I had went and got him. He was 3. He's 21 now, man, and I love him. He don't even know. And I try to contact him, and he probably looking at it like I ain't been there for him. Fuck you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? The whole nine, and I respect that because I haven't been there for him. But I would love to give him my story, man. You know, and hopefully he'll see this. And let me tell you something, man. His mom did right, and she remarried, and she kept me the fuck out of his life. And guess what? I was fucked up. I shouldn't even been in his life. Thank God, because whoever raised him was the man that took care of that. He was his daddy. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm so grateful for that. I know people that be mad at shit like that. And me, I can't even be mad at that. I can't be jealous or nothing. I actually need to commend the guy that played father in his life, man. That actually was his father. Cause I sure know wasn't no fucking father, man. And I was, growing up, man, I know I had a lot of friends that didn't have their daddies in their life. And my daddy was in my life. And I used to say, man, I wish he wasn't in my life. Shit, I wish they took my daddy and I had their daddy. And I used to say, man, and I'll never do my kids like that. And sure enough, man, my son, man, I did him like that. Not even realizing I did him like that, man. When you're going off drugs, man, so hard and so long, you look up, man, it's 5 years later. You look up, it's 10 years later. You look up, it's 14 years later. Them kids that was 3 years old, now they 17. And you found out, okay, man, I really want to do something in your life. I want to be a part of your life, you know? And I got kids that's here now that love me, man, that I've built relationships with and still building relationships with, man. Them are still my babies. And I got a couple kids that don't ain't never even known me to get drunk or high. Thank God for that. It is a miracle. But I tell you, man, it hits home. It hits home hard because when a person such as myself wants to make an amends and wants to be there, and they don't want you to be there, man. They don't even want you to be part of their life. Especially now, man, with the coronavirus shit, I can understand, I'm not doing great in my business, but I'm not failing yet. So I'm not gonna say all this shit is fucking me up completely. Yeah, it is fucking with the money. Don't get me wrong, and it's doing what it do. But I ain't had to shut my doors. Um, so that's a powerful thing. But when I'm now in a position where I can actually engage with my kids and actually be there for them, this shit hurts, man. See, a whole lot of men's, man, a person can't even be able to make. Be honest with you. That's why they call them living amends, meaning that I just got to live right, man. In that way, I'm paying my debt to God. I'm paying my debt to society, man, because I used to take from society. I used to take from the world so much. And I'm sorry, y'all, if this meeting going on, man, but I'm gonna just flow with this, man. And you cut this off whenever. I'm gonna flow with this, man. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a powerful thing. When you really attempt to do right by somebody and you don't have the opportunity no more. So see, with my son, I lost that chance. But with my daughters, I still got the chance. With my other sons, I still got the chance. So I'm just telling you, man. You get sober, you start getting recovery in you, man. You start practicing these principles, man. Everything ain't gonna go your way. Period. If it was up to me, he'll be down here with me. You know what I'm saying? And just a shout out to him, man. Your dad got a lot. Dad got a lot to tell you, man. And hopefully one day he'll understand, man, that the best thing that probably happened was that I was not there, at that time. And it's sad because that time was the time he was growing up. But the best thing that probably happened was that I wasn't there because, boy, I was an ass. I was a damn fool. And it's better that he don't remember me being there than for him to remember me being ruthless and crazy and him wanting to be away from me, him like scared of me. So I guess that's the only thing I could find acceptance on, man. And that's another piece, man, acceptance. I get no peace and no serenity if I don't have any acceptance. Excuse me. My acceptance, man, is directly proportionate to what kind of serenity I'm gonna have. So see, man, I'm even in a situation, man, with my pops, man, and I had to find a whole lot of acceptance for him being him. We had quite a relationship. As best I can tell you, man. Quite a relationship, and I had quite an upbringing, being under this guy for at least 12 years of my life, and then more. But I had quite an upbringing. He was very strict and disciplined, and very abusive, verbally, physically. But I remember, man, when I finally faced him, man, it was like I wasn't never scared of another motherfucker ever. Period. He was like the worst motherfucker I could, be afraid of, and that, looking back now, it's like that wasn't really shit, but it was something for real then. And that's what happens in a lot of alcoholics and addicts' life. We make mountains out of little shit. It's this little bit of a negativity going through some shit, and we'll blow that shit up and put it under a microscope, excuse me, and make it like it's this major fuck up thing, man. And we need somebody that's outside of our thinking, somebody that's outside of our situation to give us a little look at the situation and what they think about it. And that's why recovery is so powerful, man. Because what happens is you keep people in your corner, man, that is not actually personally in your situation. Don't have a personal thing to your situation. People that you actually can trust. Like the guy that sponsors me, man. And this guy here, he's got 20 something years sobriety. And guess what? I could call him at any given time. If he don't have the answer or a great suggestion for me, he will find out. He will call his sponsor, and so it's a powerful thing, man, to just be, connected with some people that's really going through the process of changing their life, man. And it is a process, man. It definitely is a process, man. So, just me having some acceptance for situations. He had to tell me, man, you still holding hate for your dad, man. I thought you was over that the first time we did the 12 steps. And I said, man, I guess I ain't over it. I'm still affected. And he broke it down. He said, you know what? He said, as much as you know about alcoholism, teaching recovery, the whole nine, and as much as you know how alcohol really ruined this man's life. You would think that you would have a little more compassion for him. And I had to think about that, like, wow, you right. And you know what's so messed up, man? This guy ain't never probably gonna think about getting no damn recovery, and he probably think he don't need it. And guess what? He might don't need it, because some people are okay where they're at, no matter where they're at. And that simply means I can get real comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, man. I could be comfortable in fucked up shit. I did it. Yeah, I did it. I was comfortable sleeping in abandoned houses and smoking crack in abandoned houses and all that shit in the wintertime. Yeah, summer, winter, it didn't even matter. You know, when I wanted to get one, I had to get one. Yeah, I made myself real comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So how am I going to be there to judge somebody's situation? How can I say, okay, man, that's too uncomfortable? No, for me, that might be uncomfortable, but a person is who they are. And that's hard to accept sometimes. And no matter how much I love somebody and want to help them and want them to see the light, man, when I started recovering this time, actually both times, but when I started recovering this time, I just wanted to give this to so many people. I wanted to just be like, here, man, just if you could just see in my mind, man, because I felt so great about my life, man, and I still feel so great about my life, man. Man, and I just I want this shit to transfer through osmosis. I just want to touch you and you feel what I feel and you say, oh man, I gotta have that shit. Because a lot of people that need it will never get it. This is for people who want it. And I hope to be a beacon of inspiration for people. I hope to be, at least a shot of hope for somebody who's thinking, man, maybe I should just stop drinking. Maybe I should just stop doing drugs. And then find out they can't stop. And then know that, guess what? I was in the same position and somebody helped me. There is help. There is help. So me having a whole lot of gratitude, man, keeps me grounded. Me having a lot of acceptance in my life as it is, no matter what relationships I have, that keeps me grounded. Me continuing to do the next right thing keeps me grounded. So I'm real grateful, man, to be able to come to you guys with, these stories, man, and talk about these different subjects. And if you have anything you want to talk about, just drop it in a direct message, whatever. Guess what? I'll try to put that in, on the next one, because honestly, man, this shit is just in me now, man. I've been doing this thing, the 10 years plus that I've been sober now. I've been doing this thing almost 3 years before that. Then I was doing it, several months before that. So I've been doing this thing, man, and the more I do this thing, man, the more passionate I am about living. I used to be I used to be real passionate about surviving. I used to be real passionate about making it to the next day. Man, I could get this, I could grind on this today and I'll be good tomorrow. I just became passionate about living probably about my 5th year sober. So, and there's a lot of differences, man. There's a lot of differences in just surviving and living. I got home today. It was like 11:30 something. Oh, it's probably midnight. And I'm like, yeah. And I've been saying all day, yeah, I got to do my class tonight. I got to do the meeting, and I just got into the house, man, and I'm up in here. I'm by myself tonight, and I'm like, wow, I had to light the torches out back. I had to set the mood, man, because I'm real grateful for my living quarters, man. I'm real grateful to be able to come in here and do this out of my house. I had to get into my prayer, into my meditation, man, and I had to get real solid, in myself, and I had to realize that I barely ever get time for me, you know. And then for a long time, I was looking at that as the sacrifice that I had to make because of how much I fucked up in the past. And then, my brother said, man, well, when is enough enough? And you were right. You were right. When is enough enough, man? The sacrifices I made, the sacrifices I make now, is never really going to fully amend the past. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, am I sacrificing something now that's gonna compromise or jeopardize my future, man? And see, that's the ticket there, man. What's happening now? And I barely ever get on to what's happening now that's gonna do something for my future. I'm always talking about, well, I used to do that too. And then anybody come to the shop, I try to help. It don't even matter because I was fucked up too. I was in a fucked up position. So a lot of people just come because they just want something to eat or some water or a couple of dollars to get a fucking drink, whatever, man. And I tried, man, many years. Okay, here, man, I'm open. I'm blah blah blah. And then you find out that these same people that you helping, they going around doing this all over the place. So a lot of people's helping them and they never really getting help because all we doing is enabling them. And I had to really, and I'm talking about like my 5th year in sobriety, man. I had to really look at, and I look at it now, is this help or harm? I had to really look at that, man, because a whole lot of times, man, I be harming people and don't even realize it. When they ask me for $5, yeah, I can give them $5, but guess what? Can't they work and go get their own damn $5? You understand what I'm saying? No, they can't work because probably number one, the good job, they can't pass the urine test. And even if they could, they don't have the time to go to work. Cause see, when I was getting high, and I would go to work when I could, but I didn't really have the time to go to work because I was steady chasing drugs. So I ain't had time to just go to work. Yeah, I did work. Don't get me wrong. It ain't like I just went out there and just robbed every day. Yeah, I worked. But at the same time, boy, I only worked a little bit. And I'm talking about when I was really into my addiction. I was into my addiction to the point where whoever I met, I'm like, yeah, I smoke crack. What's up? I was that deep. I wasn't, in the closet smoker and all that. I used to be that years ago, man. So yeah, anybody that call themselves helping me, no matter how miserable my story might be, my lie might be that I tell them, anybody gave me $10, $5, I'm going to get high. And then again, you really can't control what people do or whatever they do, but I know that I give what I can give. And now I'm at a point in my sobriety that I need to acknowledge, what am I giving me? What am I giving me, man? I got a lot of stuff that I own that I really it's just liability, most of it. I own a lot of stuff, so it's like, damn, I'm worried about somebody fucking it up or something. What am I giving me? So now I know that these Sundays, I got to at least give me some time to get off into myself, to get my meditation, to get my prayer going, to get my just quiet solitude going, and then I got to drop this thing on y'all, man. That's just how I got to go, man. And and I see we barely got anybody joining me, and that's good. I know my baby Uriah, yes, you still in, you still up. Good job. I love you, babe. But that's okay. Y'all can see this later, man. But something else that I wanted to really, really kick it on, because I say this, and I wanted to explain this, because I say this whenever I carry the message at a meeting or whatever, or I speak or whatever. But the sitting down process, and that place, when I'm in a meeting, I name that place of recovery that allowed me that process. I, all my life, man, was a mover and groover, a go-getter, a runner, if you may. And it would be like I would hear stuff like they would say, it's hard to hit a moving target. So when I thought about target, I said, man, moving target, I better keep on moving because the motherfucker might be trying to do something. No, no, no. It's hard to hit a moving target, period. That's the natural law. So even when God was trying to set blessings down for me, man, I was moving away from him. And when I sat down, man, at that place, man, in recovery, man, and I went around that little horseshoe, and it is the way you moved beds and rooms and shit. It's like shaped like a horseshoe. They call it the horseshoe. And I got all the way around to the horseshoe, and they kicked me out. And this was 3 months in the recovery. They kicked me out for a week. They told me I had to leave for a week, come back, and start over. And they kicked me out for a week. And then I ended up going to a place right about 4 blocks away from my house, and it's a club. It's a meeting club, and they used to have meetings from 7:30 in the morning all the way till 9 at night, man. And let me tell you something, man. I used to be in there for morning meditation all the way to the last meeting because I was so afraid I was gonna get high, man. There's a guy say this all the time: alcoholic and addict can't walk 4 blocks unattended. And man, I used to go over there, and then when they, so I had did 3 months in OTS, and when I got back to that facility, man, they started me all over, and I got all the way around that horseshoe again. I'm talking about within about a week and a half. And let me tell you something, man. I sat in that bed. It was bed 55. I'll never forget it. It was the bed right before you get to OTS 2. And let me tell you something, man. It was a 3-man room. Bed 55 was a single bed by itself, and it was a bunk bed over there. I sat in bed 55, man, for 2.5 months. I seen people go around the horseshoe, get high, and come back and go around the horseshoe and was back in phase, man. I kept hearing trust the process, trust the process. And suddenly something just sunk in my head like, wow, if I did not sit in OTS, which is called Off the Streets program in this place, if I did not sit in OTS for 6 months, I would definitely not have the recovery I have today. Because all of that recovery, all the recovery I got now is due to me sitting still. Many a guys I saw go around that horseshoe, man, is not even with us anymore. Many a guy. There was guys behind me that completed the program in front of me. And they used to crack on me all the time at the meeting, like, man, you gonna 12 step out of the OTS. You ain't even gonna go to phase. They had me in OTS so long. I spent 6 months in there, in that part of the program. And I'm talking about a person can get through that program in about 8 months, but I got through that program in 10 months. And then I stayed on staff for 3 months. So I'm telling you, man, putting it into this recovery is putting into your life, is putting into living. And that's the whole thing, man. If we ain't living, we die. So you either gonna get busy living or you gonna stay busy dying. So I want to stay busy living, man, and I want to continue, to get shots of hope out. I'm real grateful. Auntie Joanne sent me money. My dude DeMarco supporting me. My girl Arlay back in Wilson days. I'm real grateful for y'all supporting this meeting, man, because let me tell you right now, and it's about to get real deep. I mean, I'm about to start breaking down shit because I just do whatever God puts on my heart to do. So this ain't no thing where we trying to show who got the most intelligence on the big book or whatever. This is just something put on my heart, by the grace of God, and I'm gonna drop it on there, man, and somebody gonna get something out of it, man. And if one person gets something out of it, man, God is working. So my belief in God is kind of strange. It's not messed up, but it's kind of strange because I don't see God as this big guy with a big white beard and a flowing robe and all that stuff, man. My God is endless energy. That's what it is, and that I came up with that years ago. Years ago when I was real studious, locked down. Came up with that because That was the only thing I could find that was in everything and everywhere was energy. Energy is the only thing that's completely malleable. You can make steel or you can make glass or whatever. Everything in the world is made of energy. One form or another, traveling at one frequency or another. Energy. So my God is like universal, endless energy. And I allow this universal, endless energy to flow through me. And when I block it or hamper it in any kind of way, then my life goes awry, which means it goes off track. I'll be off into some bullshit. When I am open to it and I don't block it and I just kind of flow with it, things beyond what I want start to happen into my life. Like, I'm talking about the stuff that I want could be like this big, and shit this big starts coming into my life, man. And I started praying like this here, getting real grateful, man. God, thank you so much for the day. Thank you for my sobriety. Thank you for my love, my life, my health, my wealth. And at the end, I say, your will be done. Amen. And the reason is that because our 11th step, you understand, says that, excuse me, our 11th step is where you basically pray to God for God's will in your life. And I'm not going to, because anonymity, I'm not going to put it all out there like that. But basically, it means that you pray for God, to God, for God's will to just be in your life. So that means I used to have bargain prayers. I used to be like, God, please, would you do this for me? Would you get me out of jail, man? And I promise I won't get high no more. That's a bargain prayer. God, if you just make this work for me this time, man, I swear it ain't gonna be no next time. That's a bargain prayer. But our 11th step says praying only for God's will for us. Praying only. And the power to carry it out. The beginning says sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. I got to seek through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as I understand Him. Then when I pray, only God, your will for me, please give me the power to carry it out. All that, man, hey, God, would you please let me get this new car so I ain't got to walk to work? Would you please all that bargain prayer ain't work. And guess what? I didn't even realize I was bargain praying until I did the 12 steps. And when I stopped bargain praying, God's will was more powerful than my will. It wanted more for me in my life than I did. And I didn't realize that. I couldn't realize that. You know why? Because I come from non-trustful issues. Yeah, I'm fresh off smoking crack pipe. There ain't no motherfucker trusting me, and I ain't trusting nobody. Yeah. I come from, if a person telling you something, they trying to manipulate. And this ain't my square roots either. This is all the shit that happened along the way to me becoming a grown-ass dope fiend. So I didn't know how to pray only for God's will for me and the power to carry it out. I didn't know how to seek through meditation and prayer. All I knew was, come on, God, I'm in a tight position. And see, that God concept for me was so many different things in my life, and I understood the concept of God growing up. And my parents had a concept of God, my grandparents had a concept of God, church had a concept of God. I had this concept of God be into me growing up. And what happened was I had a concept of God, but I didn't have a conscious contact with God. Conscious contact means touch. Though I had a concept of God, I didn't have a connection with God. So what happened was growing up, yeah, I did the things that I thought God would want me to do, but then, and I practiced the principles that I was taught, which is very good and powerful principles. But at the same time, when you hit the streets and you go get in that concrete jungle, man, this is what happens. Principles start to change. First, I'm lying to myself because I'm saying I could sell dope and get away with it. Then I'm lying saying, you know what? I'm going to do something positive with the dirty money. I'm going to do something good with the bad money. See? So I had a concept of God, and what happened was when I started to lie to myself, I started to take that concept of God and I fold it all up and I put it in this little box in my consciousness and I put it all the way over in the corner somewhere. And I'm out here living my life. Shit, I get in the shootout, motherfucker trying to kill me and blah, blah, blah. I go run and get that little box, open it up. God, come on, help me, man. I got this beef, man. Please let me make it through. And then I say, okay, thank you, and fold it back up and put it back in the corner. Never realizing, man, the conscious contact, meaning that I was some way in tune through spirit with that power greater than myself. That was that endless energy, man, And I knew it was in me and I knew it was there, but I just didn't want to relieve myself of all the bullshit that I had placed on top of it. Basically, I didn't want to face my own shit. So for many years, I didn't want to look at me. And that, my friends and family, is definitely the pain of recovery. I got to look at my shit. And it's painful when you look at your own shit. And it's really painful when you get somebody who really on recovery and you share with them and they tell you about your shit. And they do that because they give a fuck about you, because they love you, because they care, because they want you to get through it. They want you to stay sober. They want you to change your life. They want to see the change in you more than you do sometimes. Man, I tell you what, man, it's some guys that I sponsor, and it's like I ask them all the time, man, hold up, man. It's like I want you to get sober more than you do. I steady give you this shit as I get it, and guess what? I steady roll with it, and guess what? What happens after that? You just let the shit go. Oh, yeah, man, that dude, he all right. This ain't for people who need it, man. This is for people who want it. So my conscious contact with God has allowed me to live a whole nother life, man, within the life that I already had. I didn't have to die to get this life. A big portion of me was dying to get to recovery. A big portion of me was dying. I was so disappointed in who I had become, man. I was what they call at the jumping off point. I was there, man, and I had felt that, my kids was probably better off without me because I wasn't nothing but a goddamn dope fiend anyway. And thank God, I say this with all the humility in the world, thank God for Louisville. Thank God for these facilities that gave me an opportunity to examine myself, man. And these shots go out to them guys, both in the facilities and the people that run the facilities, and I know pretty much all of them. It is a powerful thing that's being done for you at these facilities, man, when you can sit down and work on yourself, man. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. A lot of people don't have that privilege. And I'm very grateful that I was able to have that opportunity and privilege. So this goes out to you. But again, this is session 3, Life on Life Terms, a meeting and class of recovery. I am Nate. I am an alcoholic. I am an addict. And I hope you guys got a whole lot out of this. I feel pretty good about the delivery. And again, I cuss, I roll, I do what I do. But the passion is to carry this message. The passion is, guess what? Somebody did it for me. Let me do it for somebody else. So if you hear what you hear, man, and you want to continue to do what you do, no matter what you hear, guess what? Your life is yours. At the same time, think about all the other people that your life is affecting and think to yourself, do you really want to affect them this way, or would you rather affect them in a better way? Until we meet again.